Alright guys, there's 3 weeks left in the season. Hail Blades got nerfed recently, so it's not very good on Jhin anymore, and people are not sure what to build anymore because that was basically our core build for like 6 or 7 patches in a row. So, after a lot of testing, I found that the best builds to use until the end of the season. So, I'm going to explain it really quickly, the two builds. The lethality build is by far the best build to carry with and be impactful in the early game. However, the lethality build will only work if you know how to bully people in lane, you know how to snowball in the bot lane and win your lane, and you are able to use these leads to transition to the rest of the team, get yourself ahead, get your team ahead, and then end the game, or keep yourself in the lead until the game ends. Because sometimes I'll win a game after 35-40 minutes, but I'm always ahead of the entire enemy team because I'm constantly making sure I'm ahead with this build by playing aggressive and punishing the enemy's mistakes. Now, if you're more of a passive safe player that's more focused on farming in the laning phase, you don't really bully or harass too much, and you're not very consistent in winning your lane or snowballing in general in the early game, you want to go crit. So now I'm going to explain how to use the two builds. Now for the lethality build, you're going to want to go to the comment page. Essentially what the comment page is going to do is that it's going to give you damage, and it's going to give you a lot of different ways to amplify your poke in lane. So comment gives you poke, mana flow gives you more mana, which gives you more poke. A few of the other runes in this page is going to give you damage, and then over here you can choose Gathering Storm for more AD after the laning phase for the early game, mid game, or you can get Scorch just so you have a little bit extra poke in the laning phase. Sometimes I actually win lane just because Scorch gives me the extra damage, but sometimes I take Scorch and I don't really do anything with it for a few minutes because the enemy is playing too safe, and then it ends up being useless for the rest of the game. So it's up to you which one you want to take. Now I'm going to tell you how to use the build. You're going to go Ghostblade because of the mobility it provides you in the early game. And then you're going to go Duskblade because it gives you lethality. The passive is nice, but we're mostly building it because of the lethality. Always get Serrated Dirk first, never get the Warhammer component. Then you're going to get Lord Dominic's Regards for the 35% armor pen, and essentially when you combine these threes, you're going to just destroy everyone who's squishy in the early game and the mid game. And tanks are usually still squishy until they get their armor, so it still helps against tanks and snowballs against tanks in the early game. Then you're going to get Rapid Fire and IE, so you have a smooth transition into the mid-late game if the game lasts longer. Next, we're going to explain the crit build. So the crit build is pretty normal. We're used to it because we've run this build before. You're going to go Precision, you're going to go Fleet for mobility and healing, then Overheal, Alacrity, Absolute Focus, Gathering Storm. All of that scales with your build. So the more AD you get, the more you will heal, and the bigger your shield will be, and faster from Overheal, and Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm and Alacrity are all sources of AD, and everyone knows that when you get crit, the crit multiplies the AD with your passive, and it just complements the crit really well. So you're going to get Stormrazor Rapid Fire because right now it's the best early game to mid game crit build right now. So you get crit, you get high amounts of AD, and it synergizes really well. You can't really rush IE anymore, so you're pretty much forced to rush Stormrazor. Then after you get these two items, you're going to get Stormrazor, so you have that nice true damage, and it doubles your crit chance. Now for the next two items in the build, you're going to get situational items. You could get an extra crit item, Phantom Dancer, or you could get a lifesteal item, or armor pen, or maw, or GA, whatever you feel you need in this situation you want to buy. Now we're going to go to the laning items. You're going to go Doran's Blade and 1 potion if you want to play aggressive and play all in, and if you think you're better off poking or farming safely, you want to go Doran's Ring. And what do I mean about poking safely? So let's say I'm playing against a Draven and I want to win lane against Draven. The best way to win against Draven is to go Doran's Ring, poke him extremely hard by spamming your Q, because Zoran's Ring makes your Q stronger and it gives you more mana, so you spam Q to poke the Draven, and then when he gets low, you kill him. And sometimes when you're playing against a champion who has a lot of push and poke, like Sivir with a Karma, and you can't really do anything with Doran's Blade to harass or all in, then you can get Doran's Blade just to farm, make sure they don't shove you in too much, and to keep the lane even. And you're mostly focusing on Serrated Dirk, so that's going to be your power spike, and then onwards after that. Now we're going to go into boots. We're in a meta where it's very easy to die to everyone, because Akali, Irelia, Aatrox, you name it. So if they have a lot of magic assassins or magic damage, you want to go Mercs. If it's the opposite, a lot of AD assassins or AD comps, you want to go Ninja Tabis. And if they don't have a lot of bursts or a lot of threats to you, you could just get Swiftness because it's cheap and it makes you faster. So with that being said, those are the two builds you're going to want to use until the end of the season. Remember, use lethality if you're an early game player and you can consistently snowball in lane, and if you are unable to do that, you want to use the crit build to scale and focus more on the mid to late game. I would recommend you guys, if you want the best build to carry with, learn how to use the lethality and practice it. But if you are unable to, because I know some people just can't, they just can't get used to it, then you could use the crit build, and that crit build would be the best currently. So I will catch you guys next time, and good luck achieving any rank you want.